Good evening, viewers. Welcome to the Northeast News Bulletin. This is Rodali bringing to you the headlines first. President Draupadi Murmu addresses human rights myth, says Constitution has ensured protection of people's dignity. Lok Sabha takes up Women's Reservation Bill for consideration and passage. Voices of support come from Meghalaya and Manipur. Jyotiraditya Scindia to inaugurate newly developed infrastructure of Teju Airport in Arunachal Pradesh. Tripura Chief Minister Manik Saha listens to citizen grievances in another edition of Mukhyamantri Samipeshu. And in Asian Games, Indians are now taking on South Korea in men's volleyball in Guangzhou, China. In national news first, President Draupadi Murmu today said the Indian Constitution has enabled numerous silent revolutions in the field of gender justice and protection of life and dignity since its inception. Addressing the Conference of National Human Rights Institutions of the Asia-Pacific region in New Delhi, the President said that over the years, the government has also launched a number of ambitious schemes to ensure basic facilities like housing, toilet, education and health facilities and thus protect the dignity of the poor. She said India has ensured a minimum of 33% reservation for women in local body elections.
All human beings are born free and equal. Thoughts we are also critical in shaping the draft of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. He influenced the human rights discourse. It was under his influence that the notion of human rights came to be expanded from basic necessities of life.
In more national news, the Lok Sabha today took up the Women's Reservation Bill for consideration and passing. The bill seeks to provide one-third reservation to women in the Lok Sabha and state assemblies. The Constitution's 128 Amendment Bill 2023 was introduced in this regard on the first day of proceedings of the Lok Sabha in the new Parliament building. The legislation will be called Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. Moving the bill, Union Law and Justice Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal said it is a step towards women empowerment and it will enhance their dignity by ensuring equality of opportunities. Initiating the discussion, senior Congress leader Sonia Gandhi said her party supports this legislation.
जिससे नेशनल कैपिटल दिल्ली की असेंबली में महिलाओं के लिए 33% सीट का रिजर्वेशन सुनिश्चित होगा, जिसमें 330 आर्टिकल जो संविधान का है उसमें 33A एक हम सेक्शन जोड़ रहे हैं, आर्टिकल जोड़ रहे हैं, जिसके अनुसार महिलाओं के लिए लोकसभा में 33% आरक्षण होगा। लोकसभा में ये बहुत बड़ा कदम है अध्यक्ष जी। और तीसरा संशोधन बिल के क्लॉज 4 के अनुसार संविधान के आर्टिकल 332 के बाद एक नया आर्टिकल 33A जोड़ा जा रहा है, जिसके अनुसार महिलाओं के लिए स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली में 33% सीटों का प्रावधान हम करने जा रहे हैं। और जो चौथा एक क्लॉज है 5, उसके अनुसार संविधान का आर्टिकल 334 के बाद एक नया आर्टिकल 33A जोड़ा जा रहा है, जिसके अनुसार महिलाओं के लिए ये आरक्षण जो आज ये सदन चर्चा के लिए ले रहा है, ये आरक्षण 15 सालों के लिए प्रभावी रहेगा। 15 सालों के बाद अगर इसको बढ़ाना है तो ये संसद ही तय करेगी, ये संसद को अधिकार रहेगा।
Meanwhile, Amparin Lingdaw, Meghalaya's lone woman minister, has welcomed the Women's Reservation Bill, which guarantees a 33% seats for women in Lok Sabha and state assemblies in a move to empower women. Reacting to the Union Cabinet's decision to approve the Women's Reservation Bills, she said, the question now is how quickly will the bill be implemented. Thanking Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his cabinet colleagues for the initiative, she said the bill will mean 23 women politicians will find themselves inside the state assembly.
equality for women in general to be active in so many spheres of issues in the community. I don't think much preparation has to go on. Now let's hope this bill takes shape quickly. Let's hope you declare. You will have to decide whether it will be a balloted procedure, whether it will go by.
On the other hand, speaking to DD News at Imphal, former chairperson of Manipur State Social Welfare Board and former director of Agriculture of the state, RK Nansana Devi, has appreciated the bill as a landmark decision to politically empower women of the country.
I wholeheartedly welcome the Women Reservation Bill being introduced in the Lok Sabha yesterday. It is a landmark decision in the political history of India for empowerment of women. It will be a great achievement for political empowerment of every woman in India. Women reservation will enhance women participation in politics. I appeal the central government to pass the bill as early as possible so that we can see its implementation in the near future.
Moving on, Rajya Sabha today took up a discussion on India's glorious space journey marked by the successful soft landing of Chandrayaan-3. When the House met this morning, Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar said India is only the fourth country in history which has soft landed a spacecraft on the moon. He added that India is the first country to land a spacecraft on the south polar region of the moon. Initiating the discussion, Minister and Leader of the House Piyush Goyal said Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO has made the entire nation proud by conducting a successful landing of the Chandrayaan-3 on the moon's surface. He said India has showcased its cost effectiveness in the space sector in comparison to other nations. He said many countries have expressed the desire to join India's space mission.
प्रोत्साहित किया, मैं समझता हूं वो जो चित्र है वो देश के 140 करोड़ लोगों के जहन में, उनके दिल में, उनके मन में बस गया है.
The Union government launched a series of transformative initiatives aimed at revolutionizing agriculture in the country in New Delhi today. The transformative initiatives include Kisan Rin Portal, KRP, door-to-door KCC campaign and Weather Information Network data systems, WINS, manual. These initiatives were launched by Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and Union Minister of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Narendra Singh Tomar. According to the Minister of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, these initiatives aim to amplify financial inclusion, streamline data utilization, harness technology and enhance the livelihoods of the agricultural community.
Rural banks, which are partly owned by the states, partly owned by sponsor banks, and their digitization, computerization, therefore, if they didn't have it, extending phone bank facility, banking facility on the phone, not the phone banking of the UPA era. So, for banks to produce internet banking.
Now we take a short commercial break.
Invest in the share market, earn lakhs with guaranteed returns. This limited period offer is just for you.
Snakes have cameras in their eyes.
How can you believe this nonsense?
Aren't you doing the same thing, Dad? Nobody can promise guaranteed returns in the share market. If you see any such message, mail or ad, you can be sure it's wrong. Such schemes defraud investors and are considered a crime. I've explained this to you so many times.
Welcome back. Moving on to Northeast now, Minister of Civil Aviation Jyotiraditya M. Scindia will inaugurate the newly developed infrastructure of Teju Airport in Arunachal Pradesh on the 24th of September. The newly developed infrastructure includes an extension of the runway, the construction of a new apron, the construction of a new terminal building and a fire station. The government has spent 170 crore rupees to develop the airport infrastructure. The airport is currently connected to Dibrugarh, Imphal and Guwahati through regular scheduled flights by Alliance Air and Flybig Airline. Chief Minister Pema Khandu will also join the inauguration ceremony. In more news from Arunachal Pradesh, Chief Minister Pema Khandu today inaugurated what he called a brand new state-of-the-art building of the Government Higher Secondary School at Telo in Lower Subansiri district. Taking to X, formerly Twitter, Khandu said the school has a proud tradition of nurturing students who go on to achieve remarkable success in their lives. He called upon one and all to make full use of this modern infrastructure to provide finest training to children. In Tripura, Chief Minister Dr. Manik Saha today interacted with members of the public during the 19th edition of Mukhyamantri Samipeshu. In a social media post, Dr. Saha informed that he listened to their problems and asked the officials concerned to address the issues raised. In Mizoram, the Mizo National Front today observed the Martyrs' Day to commemorate those who lost their lives in their fight for Mizo nationalism. In a program on the occasion today at Mizo Namran, Chief Minister Zora Thangma said it was only after the settlement at the Shin Hills and in the year 1966 that the Mizo people rose to uphold their spirit of nationalism, and it prolonged struggle that a peace accord was signed in the year 1986. In Manipur, normal life continued to be affected in the valley areas of the state on the second day of the 48-hour statewide Bandh, starting from the midnight of Monday. The Bandh has been called by the Langthabal Kendra Club's Coordinating Committee, Imphal, with the support of a number of civil society organizations of the state, demanding unconditional release of the 5 village protection volunteers arrested by the Manipur police on Saturday. In sports news, Indians are now taking on South Korea 25-19 in their first group encounter. The women's team will take on North Korea in its opening match in a Pool A on September 30. In Meghalaya, Deputy Chief Minister in charge of Home Preston Tingsong informed the State Assembly on Tuesday that East Khasi Hills district has the highest incidence of crime registered from 2020 to 2023 with more than 5,000 cases. Replying to a question by UDP member, Morail-born CM Tingsong said several steps have been taken to the government to control crime in the state and also to tackle crime against women. To end the news, main points once again. President Draupadi Murmu addresses human rights need, says Constitution has ensured protection of people's dignity. Lok Sabha takes up Women's Reservation Bill for consideration and passage. Voices of support come from Meghalaya and Manipur. Jyotiraditya Scindia to inaugurate newly developed infrastructure of Teju Airport in Arunachal Pradesh. Tripura Chief Minister Manik Saha listens to citizen grievances in another edition of Mukhyamantri Samipeshu. And in Asian Games, Indians are now taking on South Korea in men's volleyball in Guangzhou, China. That brings us to the end of this evening's bulletin. Thank you for tuning in. Namaskar.